It's a bird. It's a plane. It's an Element Superperson. You have been hired by Elements of the Universe, a comic book publisher, to create a new superhero or villain whose appearances, characteristics, and powers are based on an element from the periodic table. Now, you're going to need to double check Google Classroom and or talk to your teacher about how to sign up or pick the element that you're going to be making into a superhero or supervillain. Some ideas. We sometimes have had students that they want to join forces with another student and they're going to make like a superhero, and then their friend is going to make a villain to the superhero. Or there's like a superhero and a sidekick. So if you wanted to do that, totally could do that. Does not need to be done. What we're looking at though is you're making a superhero or a supervillain, and just one at that. But it's an option. Check Google Classroom for how to figure out which element you will be using or to pick the element. So, directions that you've got. You're going to need to fill the notes box on this packet to research information about your element. More on that to come. Come up with a backstory about how your superperson came to be. It should be a blend of part fact based on your notes and part creativity. So, put a creative spin on this factual history to make it a superperson backstory. So, who discovered it? When was it discovered? That needs to be correct. If you can add some bits, like maybe someone was mining and they found this metal, or they were doing testing with some radioactive elements and they found this, but then make it a superperson story. We've heard that there's like radioactive spiders making people become a superperson, or maybe there was something tragic that happened to them as a child that made this happen. So it's going to be a part not completely true, but you're going to weave in the true parts. So like, who is the creator, where was it discovered, or when was it discovered, like that bit of information, but the rest of it you get to make up yourself. So then you're going to need to come up with a quick facts about your element superperson. Try to blend the real facts about your element with some cool features or superpowers or tools your element superperson has to use. So some things to include. Where is your element commonly found? Where does your superperson live? So it might say that like this is an ore in mine shafts. So maybe you're going to say in the deep depths of a mine in maybe where it was discovered, that's where your element superperson lives. What are some properties or descriptions of your element superperson? So if it is something, maybe it's the color of your element, that some of the gases, when they're heated up, that they turn different colors. So maybe when electrified, your super person glows, which is part of a superpower. Could be really cool. So again, is the super person necessarily glowing? No. Is that a property of the element? Yes. What are some good things or uses about your element? So these are the strengths of your super person. So maybe you have a metal that is super strong, which means that your super person is super strong. Maybe you've got a metal that is very flexible, and so you've got one that's your element superperson is also going to be able to be like bent into little bits but then unfold and whatnot. Could be kind of cool. What are some bad or dangerous things about your element? So these might be weaknesses or dangerous things about your superperson. So like iron, we know rust. So maybe if your superperson gets like is caught in the rain, there's something that happens to do with rusting. Again, blending fact with the fiction, and then fill in the super stats box. So we've got some resources here. This first one is to actually make your element superhero, which is going to look something like this. So you're going to have your element superperson and then your designer. Here's the super stats section, the quick facts section, and the backstory. Now on the assignment though, we've got it right here so that you can research and get all this information first and then go fill that in afterwards. So make sure you get this stuff first before you get creative. On this part here, this is all factual. It's when you put it on the actual assignment that you make it fun. So where are you going to get some information? We've got 2 links here for you. So there's a whole list of elements that would be good ones to pick from. So here, I'll just kind of go through these slowly so you can go ahead and look through all the different ones that are available, or that we've kind of handpicked a little bit, that there should be enough information when you're looking for it. So go back through this video if you want to double or go see all these again. But these are kind of all the ones that we kind of picked out that should have all that good information. And then there's 2 links here. Please only use these 2 links to find the information. If you are getting information from anywhere else on the web, you need to research it. If you're like, oh, I'm just going to Google it because it'll be quicker. Not really. If you click into here, it has all the information. This first one, when you get to it, it's got everything, like literally right there. It's literally right here. Everything's in here. I'm going to come back in just a minute to go through these. And then the other one looks something like this. And again, all of the information is literally on here. So please use either of these 2 websites. You can use either one, but pick one of them. So where are you getting points from? Having the Superperson name and designer written down, having the character drawing, so adding colors, adding just features. If you would like to recreate the page, you can totally go for that. Or if you wanted to put a piece of white over the Superperson so that you can completely draw in your own Superperson, go for it. We know that my drawing skills, Miss Moronics, are a little bit rough, but I know I've got some artists who might do some really great things. Regardless of what type of artist you are, you can put in good effort, and that is what your science teacher is going to expect, is that there's good effort. Okay, so use some colors, give it your best. The notes page, you have all the information that's below. You've used these sources. Google is not a source of information. Write down which sources you use. It should have been from one of these 2. If you did have to go somewhere else, you need to cite that. Quick fact section is filled out on the full like final product. The super stats section, the backstory section is done. It's neat, it's colorful, it's on time, and overall, well done. So here's all the information kind of split up. What we're hoping is you'll have one day to get all the information, one day to create all this. Now, if you finish up with this early, the research part, and you want to start filling it into the Element Superhero final product, fantastic! Can't wait to see it. So, who discovered this element? You'll fill that in. When was it discovered? Fill that in. Periodic table information, atomic number, mass, protons, electrons, neutrons, what's the state of matter, color, characteristics, special characteristics like hazards, dangers, or chemical reactions, known sidekicks, so elements it's often found with, and known hideout locations, materials, and substances it's found in. When you go back to this page, everything is like laid out here. So the super stats section, super easy to just fill that in from those notes. The quick facts, this is going to be based on a little bit of your research, and you're going to come up with this. So this is where you could put their strengths, your super person's weaknesses, things that are like superpowers of your super person. And then the backstory here goes at the bottom. So again, use factual information and then make up a fictional story. So a lot of this is going to be that you've got the right place, the right date, and the right person, but then how it's discovered from there, make it fun. Not just, it was discovered in a lab in 1330 by so-and-so. No! That's not how a super person becomes to be. We want the fun backstory. So when you go to some of these websites, so for example, I'm going to go to Francium. Why am I picking Francium? Because Francium's not one of the options of elements that would be good to look at. I know. You're so proud of me. But on here, so it said you needed to add the stuff of the periodic table, atomic number, protons, neutrons, electrons, solid. If you scroll down just a tiny bit, there's francium, symbol, atomic number, standard state. It's a solid at typical temperatures, like room temperatures. What does its appearance looks like? Francium is metallic looking. What is its protons, neutrons, and electrons? We learned how to calculate that in science class. So go back to your atomic basics assignment if you need help with that. Here's the description. It's found in uranium minerals, can be made artificially by bombarding thorium with protons, most unstable. So maybe francium, instead of being a superhuman, is going to be a supervillain that's a hothead because it's unstable. It's the only francium, isotope of francium occurring in nature. So you could mention like how rare this superperson is or how much they hide. Scrolling down then, this is where there's some more information, like their melting point. What's the boiling point? How big are some of the different parts and pieces? If we keep going down, it's got so uses, you can click into their reactions. It reacts with air, water, acids, and bases. So that could be something that maybe if I'm making Francine a super villain, it is going to fight against the any or any superheroes that are water. Maybe the rain is going to be a problem for this supervillain that I think I'm creating. So that whenever it rains, that's when that's how the powers are depleted. So a superhero could defeat this element superperson or my villain by dumping water on them. Some things that it's normally found with is oxygen and hydrogen. So maybe those are some of its sidekicks. Continuing, so here's the history discovered by Marguerite Curie in 1939 in France. I could click on more history to even get a little bit more from there. So I need to say francium was discovered. Maybe francium was in a deep, dark basement and discovered in France. It was just this tiny little bit that no one really much cared about. But then it discovered the powers it had of it being reactive and how that scared others off. And rather than harness those powers for good, they decided to use them for evil to scare people into doing what they wanted. I don't know. That's just a sample one. I made that one up in like 2 minutes. Yours is going to be much better because you're going to take a little bit more time. So as you keep going down, there's more information you can click on to get anything more. If I would go into this other website and go to Francium, I'm going to get a lot of similar information. So it tells me where and how it was named. It was named after France. So maybe this super villain that I've made is going to have like the French color, the colors of the French flag as part of the superhero that I draw, like the cape, is going to be like a French flag or something. I don't know. I can make it as creative as I possibly want. And then on here, so here's uses and properties. I might use, remember when I was looking, it said it looks metallic. So I might make my super person look a bit metallic. Here's some more about the history here. So I could incorporate some of that into here. And then you can go to all the elements. So that is a little bit of an overview wrap up. You've got day 1 to get the research done. Day 2 is to make this look awesome. And if you finish up with this part, day 1, definitely start on this day 2. The research of the information shouldn't take you as long. The superhero might take you a little bit because you got to be a little creative, but 2 days, more than enough time. Have a little bit of fun with this. And as always, please let your science teacher know if you have any questions. Have a great day, everyone.